What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I got another e-bike review coming to you. This one is the KBO Breeze. It's a cruiser bike for all you students or commuters that want a Cadillac ride to work or school. When I say Cadillac, I'm serious. This is like the most comfortable e-bike I've ever ridden. And I'm going to tell you all the details on why I call it the Cadillac of e-bikes for only roughly $14.99 as I'm making this video. So KBO, if you don't know, they are a relatively newcomer to the e-bike world. They sent this out to me and I appreciate that. Thank you, KBO, for supporting the channel. If you do any kind of research on e-bikes, you're going to learn real quick that you don't really start getting the good parts and the good performance until you spend over $1,000, usually $1,500 and up. There's a few out there that are under that, but they're not going to have the components and the build quality that this bike has, and you're gonna find out real quick when I point them all out. Right out the gate, this is a full-size bike. The frame is a full-size frame. I'm not exactly sure the measurements on the sizing, but I'm 200 pounds, 5'10", with my favorite shoes on. And this bike is big. It may not look big when you look at it on camera, but it's a big bike. Probably the heart of any e-bike is going to be the motor. So this motor is branded KBO, and they're claiming it is 500 watts. It's a brushless geared hub motor. And if you don't know the difference between those, essentially when you have those geared hub motors, you're going to get nice strong torque from the start. Top end, obviously it's going to use a lot more energy compared to like a direct drive. But again, with direct drives, those don't take off fast from the start either. So geared hub motors are what you want for commuting, getting off that line from a stop sign or a stop light, so you can get out there and across those streets, and also taming hills, going up hills, so you don't get all sweaty when you get to school or work. You want a geared hub motor. Of course, there's mid drives out there too, but those are even more expensive than this bike. They say that this has a 750 watt peak. Some of these motors do that. They'll do a peak and then they'll have a consistent running wattage. And then the other part of your heart would be the battery. So this one's nice because this one is a big, powerful battery. 48 volt, 16 amp hour battery pack. These are Samsung cells. It even says right there, Samsung. And when you have quality cells, you're going to have a long lifespan because battery packs don't last forever. And it's not just a battery pack though, it's more than that. Some of these bikes, they'll have battery packs and that's all they do is just give you power and that's it, nothing else. They're not versatile. Well, this one is versatile. It has the Samsung cells in here and a USB port. If you look right there, you can plug your cell phone in there and charge your cell phones for emergencies or just in general when you're riding to or back from school or work. Very versatile. I like that. I have two other e-bikes that don't have that, so that's pretty cool. The battery is semi-integrated into the frame. If you look here, the frame has a cutout and the battery pack sits half in and half out, which is nice. Sometimes you'll see these frames that are fully integrated where you can't see the battery at all, which looks great, but then you reduce your capacity. You can't fit as many cells inside the frame, or else the frame would be like this big, right? So this one's 50-50. Half are in, half are out. There's a little lever here to get it out. There's a lock right here to lock it in so people can't steal your Samsung cells. You know, people might want to steal these, you never know, especially if you're a commuter or a student. Here's the power indicator. You hit that for a few seconds and you'll see 1, 2, 3, 4 green lights. That tells you how much battery life you have. And then down here is where you charge your battery. It's a little flap to keep the dust and water out. You can charge it on the bike, or obviously you can take it off the bike and charge it in your office or your home. Pretty nice. There's your controller right there. This one's pretty big, so they mounted it outside of the battery pack here. A lot of times you'll see these controllers integrated into the battery mount, which takes up space and you have less cells. Well, they wanted to put more of those Samsung cells inside their battery pack, and they moved the controller to the outside, and that's a good spot because it's kind of dead space anyways. All right, another big selling point, throttle. On the right hand side, just like on a dirt bike or a moped, you have this twist throttle. It's a half grip, so half of the grip turns, the other half doesn't. The reason I like this is because sometimes you're in a position where you just need to power out of something, right? Maybe you're at a stoplight or a stop sign, or you're at a turn of an intersection. You need to just go. Well, with this, you just twist this. Let me turn it off so it doesn't go. So with this bike, you just twist the throttle and you go. There's no setting it to throttle only like some bikes I have, because some you have to set to pedal assist and that's all you do, and then you switch it to throttle and then that's all you do. You can't go back and forth without touching the controller. On this one, you can use it anytime you want. You want to pedal, pedal. You want to throttle, throttle. You just do it. It's pretty nice. Then the grips themselves, since we're here, they're leatherette, so they have these leather padded wide grips, so it spreads that load out, those vibrations. They don't make your arms or your hands go numb. Kind of has some hand stitching there, which is again a nice little touch. Here's your controller. To turn it on, just hit the M button and it comes on, and then of course here's your power button for the battery. And then it has 5 pedal assist modes, so it defaults to assist 1, and we can bump that up to 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's what I like to ride in. So when the bike ships to you, it is obviously a class 2 e-bike. So 20 miles per hour is the legal setting that you get it. But I've already felt this thing go over 22 miles per hour sometimes, so that's a nice little benefit. It goes easily 22 miles per hour. Also too, the wheel set, 27.5-inch wheel set. These are really nice tires. These are not budget tires. These are Panaracer tires, puncture resistant. And if you notice, there's no reflectors in the wheels, which gives it a nice clean look. And the reason why there's no reflectors clamped onto the wheels is because the reflector is that white stripe embedded into the rubber. So at night, when a headlight hits this whole wheel lights up nice. As a commuter bike goes, that's awesome. I like that. Probably wouldn't want that on my mountain bike, but on a commuter bike, 100% love that. That is cool. And the tread is very much street biased, so there's no hiding it. This bike is 100% made for commuters going on roads and streets, not the dirt. What you get with that is really good traction on asphalt, and you also get really good performance from the motor and battery because there's a lot less friction. Another thing that I like about these specific tires too is they're big. You know, these are 2.4 inches wide, which is big. That's a lot bigger than normal. Usually normal bikes, normal budget bikes are going to be 1.9, 2 at the most. This is 2.4, so it's a bigger tire, which essentially acts like a suspension as well as the fork. So it is a hardtail, so you're not going to have any suspension, but with this bigger 2.4 inch tire, it's going to soak up those bumps a little bit. See this asphalt crack right here in the road? See how big that is? Look at my shoe. That is a 2, maybe 3 inch gap in the road. That's dangerous. If you're riding a skateboard or a kick scooter or something with small wheels, that could literally knock you off your bike or your whatever you're riding. Or it could just make your bike uncomfortable if you hit that with, smaller tires. Again, 27.5 inch by 2.4 with suspension. This thing soaks it up nicely. Another big selling point, the brakes. These are Tektro mechanical brakes, front and rear. They're 180 millimeters up front and in the back. Here's a look at the rear mechanical brake. Again, 180 millimeters in the back. And I like how they integrated the rear caliper inside the triangle A lot of times the calipers will be mounted outside here, which isn't necessarily bad, but this is just a better position just for protection. It also gives you a good look at the dropouts. Look at that. That's not a budget bike by any means. That is a really nice looking dropout there. Another big selling point on this bike are the forks. So in the world of bicycle forks, in general, you're going to have rigid forks with no suspension. Then you're going to have spring forks, which are just springs inside these stanchions that bounce up and down. Then you're going to have spring forks with adjustability, which is what these are. And then from here, you're going to move up to air adjustable forks like Fox and Rock Shocks and a few others out there. But those are going to be way more expensive. These ones are basically the top of the line spring forks, in my opinion. Pretty nice. They do have lockout, so if you want to ride this with a rigid fork for like going uphill and take advantage of having the solid frame for going uphill and pedaling hard, you can do that, or you can unlock it and it'll absorb those cracks and bumps in the road. And it also has preload, so if you weigh 250 pounds, you can adjust how much these are gonna sag basically. And then another big selling point is the LED headlight that actually runs off of the battery pack. So you don't have to buy a flashlight and clamp it to your handlebars. It's already built into the bike itself. So you can kind of see the bracket there. It mounts on the cross brace here. It also has a little reflector built in too. So if you're riding it without the light, you still have front protection. Instead of having a separate reflector clamped onto your bar, it's integrated into the light. That's a nice touch. That's how you know you're not getting a cheap bike. I mean, you have these little touches that they didn't have to do. They could have cheaped out and just put a clamp on, but this one's integrated into the light. And that LED light works really good. So if you're at school or work and you're working late and you get off when the sun goes down, you have this safety measure to get you home nice and safe. Another big selling point to this bike is it has a powered rear brake light. So a lot of the cheaper bikes are going to have a clip-on battery powered light either back here or under the seat. This one is actually powered by the battery, just like the headlights. So to turn on the headlight, you just hold the plus button here for a few seconds, and then boom, headlight comes on. And as you can see, the beam pattern is pretty good. That'll get you home for sure if you're coming home from school or work. And that also turns on that awesome powered tail light, just like a moped or a motorcycle. That is cool. Nice and safe. I really like that. I wish all e-bikes came with that feature because that's really nice. So it'll stay on when the bike is on, and then when you brake, it'll start flashing. And then they did a real good job hiding the wires. You can see right there, there's the wires, and it runs down here and goes through to the battery pack. So really nice setup there. I like that. Another thing that I like, the cargo rack. If you want to carry your books or extra clothes, whatever it is you're bringing to work or school, you can pack them on here. Of course, you can put panniers, saddle bags. There's 1,000 of them on Amazon. I believe KBO even makes some bags as well that go with this. There's a lot of accessories on the KBO website that you can get with this bike as well. But yeah, you can use that for groceries, school, work, whatever, and that's pretty awesome. And it's a beefy one. Look at that. You got 4 big bolts here on this seat stay. That is a solid rack. I like that. Another big selling point for you commuters and students out there, fenders. These fenders are huge. I mean, they go from your bottom bracket essentially all the way to the very end over here. So that's like 50% coverage of your tire. That's nice. And these are not plastic. Those are metal fenders. So they could have saved money by going with plastic, but they didn't. They went with these stamped metal fenders, which is nice. I like that. And then you have your supports there, nice and sturdy. They don't rattle. They don't make any noises when you're riding. They're nice and solid. I really like that. And that keeps the water off your uniforms or your clothes when you're going to school or work. That's really nice for you commuters out there. And then in the front, it also has a fender, metal fender, and it's supported here on the fork. Again, nice and low, so when the water splashes up, it gets caught right here and doesn't go on your clothes, which is nice. I will say the fender does ride very close to the tire, really close to the tire, so something to be aware of if you ever swap tires out. You're probably not going to be able to go any bigger than what they give you here. These are 27.5 by 2.40, so that's about the max you're going to be able to go. Look at that, there's barely any room in there at all to go bigger. The hubs and axles are quick release, so easy maintenance if you want to take the tire off and fix a flat. The rims themselves, they are branded HJC Mondial or Mondial alloy 6061 T6 aluminum, double walled. They are not tubeless, and I don't even think they're tubeless ready, but you don't really need them to be. It's a commuter bike, and they have standard Schrader valve tubes in there. Let's talk about the drivetrain. So you have Shimano 7-speed shifters up here. These are the thumb shifters, SIS index. And I've talked about these before in other reviews. You basically release your grip and bring your thumb up to shift, up or down, and they work great. I prefer trigger shifters, the ones that you do like this underneath. But again, you're probably going to pay more money to have those higher end trigger shifters on like high-end mountain bikes. This is not a mountain bike though, you don't need that. Those control Shimano ALTUS derailleurs in the back, and as you can see, pretty nice looking. Look how big those wheels are. Those are pretty big wheels. Usually those things are small, but yeah, it came out of the box perfectly tuned. I didn't have to do anything. They shift through all the gears just fine. So here's a look at the Shimano gear set in the back. As you can see, 7 cogs back there, and they're relatively small. I mean, this is not a mountain bike, so you don't have the real big, humongous gears back there for climbing. You got the motor and these gears to help you get up hills, and that's just fine. Here's a nice touch. It comes with a derailleur guard. This is a steel bar that you have to mount in here when you're putting the bike together. And when you're parking this at the school or at work on a bike rack and other bikes are banging up against your bike, it's nice that they're not going to misalign your derailleur. That's nice. I like that. Nice touch. And then your cranks are pretty nice. A lot of times you'll see cheaper crank sets super thin. These ones are not thin. These are very thick. I believe these are 170 millimeters. And then you have this bash guard / chain protector. You can actually unscrew that and take this off if you didn't want to run it, but I don't know why you would want to do that. But that's nice. It keeps the oil from the chain away from your clothing. So the pedals are actually a nice upgrade. These are more platform style with a nice big lug, so you have a big platform for your shoes. Your feet don't slip off when you're pedaling. Here's a look at the cadence sensor. As you can see, this is a nicer cadence sensor. A lot of times the more budget e-bikes will have just cheap clamp-on cadence sensors that look like they just clamped them on. This one is actually integrated into the bottom bracket, nice and clean. On this setup here, you just pedal, and once you hit a certain rotation, the sensors will pick that up and then give you the appropriate power that you have set into the pedal assist. Seat clamp, quick release, adjustable. I believe this bike can be adjusted to people that are above 6 feet. I think like 6'2" or 6'3" can ride this bike, no problem, without buying a bigger seat post. And then of course, adjustable seat post here. You just use an Allen bolt there and you can adjust this seat. Let's talk about the seat, by the way. This is a commuter bike, and the seat is nice and big, nice and wide. So it's like, again, like a Cadillac, man. This thing is super comfortable. Branded KBO on the back. And then if you look right here, that's a handle. So if you needed to move this bike, you can pick this bike up easily, going up to the dorms, going up to your office, moving around the garage. That's a nice feature. I like that. Of course, you could grab the cargo rack, but what if you're running this without the cargo rack? You still have that nice big handle right there. So if you notice, there's no bosses here for a water bottle. You know, the battery pack and this top tube kind of take up space here. So they didn't bother putting a water bottle there. But what they did give you is bosses for a water bottle cage on the top tube. So that's nice. Of course, you could put water bottles on your handlebars too if you buy aftermarket bottle holders. That's what I'd do. Put them right here. That's the best spot. Let's talk about the handlebars. So again, this is a dedicated cruiser bike, so they give you these high rise handlebars, which is nice. It gives you that upright position, so you don't have a lot of stress on your wrist and your shoulders. You're very upright. Again, Cadillac. This is like riding a Cadillac. It's going to be super comfortable. The stem is branded Pro Max. It's a threadless setup. The head tube here looks like it's tapered, but I already took these forks apart and looked inside, and what it looks like, they're running a steel adapter right here to widen that bottom part open, so you can run regular straight tube headsets. Now here's something that I thought was, again, above and beyond what they had to do. So when you're riding around town or whatever, and you need to let somebody know you're coming up behind them, coming up on your left side or whatever, you have this commuter bell that's built into the caliper, which I like. A lot of times they'll have them just clipped on here, but this one is built in, it's integrated. I like that. It's just a little nice little touch. Another thing that they didn't have to do, but they did, is they have these soft touch rubber inserts on these aluminum brake levers. Again, didn't have to do that. So when you're riding this thing every single day, you have a nice comfortable grip. Cable management, pretty clean. They all run inside the frame. If you see right there, there's a hole. So they run inside the frame, again giving it that nice clean, well put together look. If it was a cheaper bike, those wires would be clamped and zip tied all over the outside. And then lastly, the kickstand. This is the beefiest kickstand on the market as far as I know. It's big, it's very sturdy. It has a nice big boot on the bottom, so if you park in grass or dirt, it's gonna not sink in. That's nice. And when I say this thing is beefy and strong, watch this. That thing goes up with authority. So if you need a workhorse, delivery bike, cruiser bike, commuter bike, I think this is a good option for $14.99. So if you want to buy one of these yourself, hopefully they have them in stock, but hit the link below. I am an affiliate. That is a look at the KBO Breeze commuter bike. If you guys enjoyed this video, or it was informational or just entertaining, please hit that like button to support my channel. I appreciate it. It helps me out a lot. And ring the bell to be notified when I upload new videos. And leave a comment below. Let me know what you think about the KBO Breeze. Pretty cool, right? This would probably be good for you RVers too. You know, if you need a bike to get around whatever town you're camping at, it's a good little exploration bike. Thanks a lot, guys. Take care.